Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a fairy cottage in, obviously, The Sims. Now, of course, we don't have fairies in The Sims, but with a little creativity, I decided what we would do is a keeper of the fairies. I created a Sim who is a good witch. She has this beautiful garden all around her house, and there are fairies in the garden. And if you don't get it just yet, you will in the end. You'll see what I mean. We got nice little glowing orbs from Debug that help to make up what would be my fairies. What I wanted to do with this build is keep it very cottagey and fairy-like. I wanted to play around with the roofs and just do some really fun roofing on it. Try different shapes with using the extra roof tools. Really go for some really pretty slopey type shapes. Gave it a round room, which round rooms are always so, fun in The Sims. But I figured it'd be really nice to do some round rooms and just keep it very fantastical. I don't know. I do keep this build pack friendly. We've got Realm of Magic, Cottage Living, Discover University, Blooming Rooms kit, and base game. I think that covers it all. Wanted to use Realm of Magic because there's so many good pieces. The windows are really fun, those stained glass windows, and I end up using the doors from Realm of Magic. And then I use like tall shelves that have the potions and stuff like that. And I go into Debug and give her some crystal balls. So I give her like a raven one, I believe a dragon one, a phoenix, and put them in that like rounded shelf. Give her lots of little Debug potions. Just really fun and wanted to keep it very whimsical. I'm getting in there, just getting all the coloring right on the windows. Came down to the fact that I wanted to use those stained glass windows. So that's why I stuck with the cherry wood color on all the layout. Was terrible. I didn't know exactly what I wanted this to look like. I just kind of wing it a lot of times, which I guess that's what you do. You just kind of get in there and see what works for you. And it definitely changes a lot. Oh my goodness. I widen the house and add extra space. It was interesting getting there, but once we get there, it's great. Back and forth on the kitchen, right? Trying to figure it out, but I knew in my heart what I wanted, so we pushed the kitchen back over to the other side in just a second. I thought about going red to match the stained windows, but I am just a green girl at heart, and I went with green. It felt very planty and plant vibes. And of course, you know that I was going to use that beautiful stained glass bed. I was like, okay, maybe I'll use a small bed. No, we do not use a small bed. We use that beautiful big double bed with stained glass and the green canopies, and it's just so gorgeous. I do use some Realm of Magic furniture for the living room as well. I did start off with the pretty fireplace from Realm of Magic. I love the crystals in it and I think it's so pretty, but the swatches are just not it for me, right? Like I wish it came in a wooden swatch. It would make it so much better, but it doesn't, so I do end up getting rid of it, and that's fine. It looks really good with what I end up using, but still, that crystal fireplace, I mean, so cute. I need to make a build and use it because I definitely didn't end up using it. Here I am kind of widening the house a little bit. The layout just wasn't working for me. So I put my kitchen over here and I decided, okay, we're going to do a little bathroom right here. She needs a bathroom. I don't know how I forgot bathroom, but she didn't have a bathroom in the layout. And so she had to have a bathroom. And where else should I put it than right off the kitchen in the living room? So I do use the Realm of Magic bathroom stuff. And I know it's not always a fan favorite. People aren't very sure whether they like it or not. Or you know what? I take that back. People are very sure if they don't like it. I love the gold. It's not my favorite, but going for that whimsical, very fun, cottagey, magical vibe, it just worked. So we use Realm of Magic. It's fine. Don't judge me. I don't need it. I don't need your judgment. I just go with it. It's the bathroom. What are you going to do? So this is when I decided to use the Blooming Room kit because I wanted to use lots of beautiful plants in this house as well as the leaf curtain. I mean, it just felt like a must. Then I decided we were going to have gnomes all over this place. That's where my train of thought went. I put those 2 gnomes down and I was like, gnomes, duh. You're going to have some fairies, you're going to have some gnomes. It's perfect. And a witch who just runs it all. So here was my dilemma. This bedroom is long. The living room is long. And I just struggled so much with decorating them because of their length. It felt too, I don't know the right word. It just felt discombobulated. I don't think that's the word I want to use, but discombobulated, disjointed, something. It felt So I'm like, nope, let's get outside. We go outside and start playing around with swatches of wallpapers. I end up going with the pretty stone and pink because I don't know. I'm not a pink person. I use a lot of pink though. It's funny. And you know what? Let's blame my sister. She's got pink hair and the pink is just rubbing into my life apparently. I'm a green girl all the way, but you know, pink has wiggled its way into my life. Messing around with the layout of the bathroom now. I was playtesting here and there and the bathroom, which I knew, but the bathroom was just too little how I had it, so I had to kind of stretch it out a little bit. But don't you worry yourself. This is not the last time the layout will change. Not even close. You know, I had a vision of how I wanted the outside to look, and I had a thought process for how the inside would look, a route that I wanted to take with this, but it just really didn't come together for a long time. Like I said, I wanted to use all the Realm of Magic stuff I could, and these bookshelves were no exception. They're so pretty. So I'm just trying to get a feel for layout. I keep going back in, looking, changing things up, adding arches and taking arches away, spandrels, columns, going down, checking layout. It was pretty time consuming, but for a while I decided the columns and the spandrel would stay. I liked how it kind of cut the room off a little bit. It felt too open. I get rid of this archway in the front too. I was thinking about how I would imagine a fairy cottage and a cottage in general. I think of closed off. I think when you walk into the living room, you're in the living room and the kitchen's off to the side and the rooms are off to the side. I think cozy and close. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense to you. This open concept was just not working for the vibe that I wanted to go for. Trying to add in that cozy feel and that lived in feel, I decided, okay, we're going to do a really pretty gallery wall, keep it light with the whites and add portraits and just little things into it. There's a version of it that stays, but because the layout changes, this changes. I did really like it though. I thought it took up great wall space and I worked a long time trying to find the perfect pictures that would just fit really well in it. So I decided to go in and add Discovery University into what I used to build this house because I knew that they had great mushrooms and these really pretty vines that you could add to the outside of your house. So I sized them down and kind of alt placed them. They clip a little bit here and there with the roof, but I think ultimately that it adds a lot of cottage vibes to the house. Also, I do know that the vine goes across the door. I don't care. I'm not mad at it. Hope you're not mad at it either. It does not deter your sim from walking in. They walk right through it and I'm good with that. There's vines on the door. It's fine. Starting to change up the coloring, I decide, well, maybe I shouldn't go for this deep dark green. I love it. I think it's gorgeous, but there was just something about it that I don't know. I can't even tell you what was wrong with it. If it was just that the room was too big and too wide for this color, I needed maybe more of a cozy feel to the color, make it more homey. I don't know, but I wanted to keep it dark, right? I didn't want to go too light with it. So I definitely play and play and play, trying to find the right color for this living room. I decided ultimately to change up the flooring from the Realm of Magic flooring to just a nice base game, kind of bringing in that like orangey colored wood that you see throughout the house. And then I'm like, well, let's bring in some plants. It was time for some plants in the house. Start pulling out different things that I think I'd like to use. I got myself some gnomes and just start filling the house up with this very nice planty vibe. Start pulling out some Realm of Magic things and getting into debug, deciding what I wanted to put in this really pretty cabinet, but also knowing that I didn't have the wall space. I didn't want to give up on using any of it. So boom, there you go. Look at that. Layout has changed completely. I shortened the living room, added a back room where your office is basically, and it connects to the bedroom. Here I am just moving doors around and trying to find the layout for the furniture now. Oh, you know what? I add in the newest luxury kit because I wanted to use the frame, the frame TV. It felt more cottagey fairy vibe with the pretty little green and yellow swatch of the flowers. Here I am finishing up that gallery wall. I had turned all the frames a shade of brown and then obviously shrunk it down because I didn't have as much wall space as I had before. I do really like the outcome of it though, especially when you think of it right above the desk area, just a nice little gallery. Now we're going in and we're going to add all the rugs we can think of. What's going to look good? How's it going to add to the space? I use the magic carpet because I think it's so cute. I do wish it had more swatches, but I love that print and the red was just so pretty. Just adding little decorations, going through, making this feel cozy. The walls needed stuff. They needed artwork and plants and just ornate items to add to this very like old cottage feel. Cottage, cottage, cottage. I'm gonna keep saying it. Just get used to it. I mean, you never know what I'm gonna do. So I changed the cabinets red, and then I change them green, and then I change them red, and then they go green, and I change the wallpapers. I just couldn't help myself. But there comes a point where it all falls together, as it always does. Finalizing the layout of where the door space is. I decide in the long run to get rid of the spandrel. It's cute, it's fine. I don't know that I felt like I needed it. Once again, I wasn't impressed with the colors of the spandrel and the column. I wished that I had that really pretty cherry tone, but I didn't want to add in more packs to find it. So we've popped back outside and it's time to landscape and figure out what this house is going to look like on the outside. I go ahead and fence in around the house and add a little wraparound porch. Decide, okay, what are we going to add to make this pretty little house feel very pretty and cottage-like? As you've seen, the living room and kitchen take a big hit in change. I go ahead and decide I want that lighter color. I add a floral print to the wall from Cottage Living because it just felt right. And if it feels right, do it. You know what I mean? Just go. Now I want to make this lush, overgrown garden, beautiful place for fairies to want to live and do life, okay? And I don't know anything about fairies, so don't. I just assume that they would want to live in a lush garden. I grabbed a bunch of those mushrooms from Debug, right? Tons, more than you see because they're like stacked on top of each other. And I go in and just layer in the plants. Plants on plants on plants on plants on plants on plants. I want this garden super luxurious and lavish and overflowing. And so I do exactly that. People have ideas of how they do their landscaping, and I feel like mine changes up here and there, but I always just go in and kind of create a little border, add the plants in that are going to fill it up, make it tall, bring some height to it, especially when I want this very overgrown look. Go in, start sizing up and sizing down the mushrooms. I end up fixing all my vines because when I moved my house around, the vines got a little messed up, so they will change as well. I use these really cute little Debug plants from Cottage Living. Those pink, they add some height, and I just really love the way they look. Then I come across more mushrooms, little overgrowth of mushroom, and I use that to pieces. It was so perfect to add in and add that extra without going too much. I know, using the same mushroom over and over again. So that helped to add more depth to it. Then we come in, start cluttering up the kitchen with some Debug items, some seeds and little fertilizers. Got the gnome on the counter holding the cookie jar because you need a gnome holding your cookie jar. I don't know why you wouldn't have a gnome holding your cookie jar. Adding in fun little Debug items like the birdhouse and that broken wheelbarrow. Trying to decide if I like my gate or not, and I decided I didn't like it. I went in and added these very cute little Debug fairies. They're glowing orbs from Realm of Magic, but I think it just adds this really pretty touch. to the entire house. To me, it's totally fairy cottage vibes. I put a cup of coffee on the table because you need coffee in your life. Because I shrunk these rooms, it just felt that much cozier and homey, especially when going in and adding in the wood tones with the floral. I think just adds a certain element. Here we're coming into the little study I made. It's got that really great gallery wall. I added in some debug potions and I'll place them. And what's really fun is the potions, when they are in live mode, have little emotes that smoke above them. And that's always so cool. You can kind of see them. In the bedroom, pretty simple. Gave her stacks of books, cabinetry, of course. Her bed is in this beautiful little tower. Just a nice little center focus point, focal point. Little debug items here and there. I hope you like it. If you do, you can get it off the gallery. My ID is katxthrash, just like the YouTube name. Make sure to like this video, comment, let's talk, let's try some different things out. I don't know. Subscribe for more, and I hope you have a great night wherever you are. Bye, y'all.